Hi, this is Mark Olmos from Grand Canyon University, and this is your introduction to Topic 4. We're talking about big wheel number 2, discipleship. Now remember, big wheels are those parts of your ministry that are absolutely essential for you to be fruitful. If any of the big wheels go down, it's over. For some, by the way, we talked about evangelism. We're going to talk about discipleship. For some, big wheels might be worship. It depends on the strengths of your youth group. And so, whatever you have in your youth group that is a strength can be considered a big wheel. But this one's about discipleship. Now, again, when you talk about discipleship, you want to begin with the end in mind. In other words, describe the lifestyle of a disciple of Jesus who is a teenager today. How do they live? What are their values? What are their habits? What are the kinds of convictions that they live with? And then you work backwards and make sure that you are equipping them to read their Bibles, to share their faith, answer difficult questions, to make good decisions on convictions, to deal with a world that is normalizing sin and things like that. You also have to plan to equip every level of discipleship because discipleship happens in levels, and we see this in Scripture. There are stages of discipleship. First of all, you have your non believers or your seekers. If they come into your youth group, they're a seeker. They're there open to hearing something about God. And so you want to be sure you're presenting the gospel in different places where they can hear the truth and make a decision about it. And then there's the infancy. These are your new believers. These are the ones that need to get baptized, need to get their first Bible, learn how to interpret the Bible, learn what a small group is and what it means to learn from others. There's so many things that are new, for them. It's important to have ministry or staff just prepared to kind of walk them into their faith. Then you have childhood. These are growing believers. They're not quite mature yet. They tend to be a little self focused still, but they're growing. They're learning. They're getting involved in the church, maybe even involved in their first ministry. Um, but you're providing kind of like an ongoing setting where their faith can continue to be built. And then you have young adulthood, and these are your committed believers. Often these become your student leaders. These are the ones that say, hey, I love God with all my heart, and everything that I do now, I do out of my love for Him. I make, decisions about, personal purity because I love God. I want to go to another country to serve, the poor because I love God. They do everything now just passionately because they see it as part of their relationship with God, as an expression of that. And then there's spiritual parents. That's the last stage. When do you become a parent? It's when you have kids. And so when you are reproducing your faith, when you're leading people to Christ, when you're teaching people how to read the Bible, when you're leading a small group, and young people, youth can lead small groups. They just need to be trained. And they become spiritual parents. And so these are the stages of discipleship. And having a good discipleship ministry really is just planning and ministry support for each one of these levels. Where are the places for new believers? You just need to make a list. Uh, what about small group strategy? What is your strategy for training your mature leaders and then having them lead these, or will your staff lead these? What about advanced training for committed believers? Do you have uh, classes set aside to teach evangelism, to teach Bible interpretation, to teach surveys through Scripture, just to strengthen their Bible reading, to teach them basic theology, which kids absolutely love. You need advanced training for committed believers who want to go a little bit further in their faith. And then what about ministry opportunities for reproducing believers? Can some of your juniors and seniors lead small groups for some of the middle school young people? Do you have opportunities for them to train? Maybe another thing is to take a new believer and connect them with a committed seasoned believer and have that seasoned believer just meet for 6 weeks, answer questions and give him some basic format or curriculum for him to teach. But you're giving them opportunities to reproduce and to pass their faith on to others. And then you need a ministry calendar that supports discipleship. In other words, you need to be sure that you don't just have all outreach, but you have discipleship retreats, that you have training classes that are set up, or training seminars, maybe just a Saturday seminar where you get together, have a great breakfast, and teach them some really important skill as a disciple, for 4 hours, and go out and do something fun. There's so many ways to do it, but you just need to be sure that your calendar kind of supports uh, the development and the execution of all of these different ministries. In conclusion, you want to see your teens become reproducing disciples, because what happens is they become disciples as young adults who are reproducing, and then they become adults that are reproducing disciples. And that's what we want in our churches. We want people to become fully devoted followers of Jesus who reproduce their faith in others. That's what Jesus asked us to do. And so, what you do is you provide a discipleship focused community where Jesus is always the king. We are following him, we're becoming like him, and we're carrying out his mission. And you're equipping every stage of discipleship along the way. That's how you make disciples. God bless. We'll see you for the last topic.